An inquiry has been launched into the causes of the shooting last year that so shocked the close-knit community.
Parents of the victims are campaigning
calls for gun laws,
killing 12 students
for
and a
Kevin
teacher.
Cachadorian.
It's important we understand this phenomena.
November 28th, 2000. Dear Franklin, since I last wrote, I've been trying to identify that moment, the exact moment when we decided to stake all our happiness on a child. I think I found it. It was May 1982. You were location scouting in the Pine Barrens of New Jersey. You were due home at 7. When you didn't show by 8 p.m., I got annoyed. But it wasn't like you. By 9, anger had tipped into anxiety. This experience is common as dirt. Your husband, your child is late, terribly late. Then they come home and there's an explanation. The brief brush with a parallel universe, in which they never come home, is over. I knew this. But by 10 p.m., I was petrified. My Sauvignon tasted like pickle juice. This was wine without you. Our loft apartment looked like an import warehouse, tatty. This was home without you. By 11 p.m. I was making vows. No offspring could ever replace you, but if I ever had to miss you forever, I wanted to have someone to miss you alongside. It was nearly midnight when the phone rang. Late enough to be the police. Hello?
Eva, it's me.
I was spared. This once. You'd broken down, walked 12 miles to find a phone. I had my explanation. When you finally got home, you were so tired you could hardly speak, but I wouldn't let you sleep. I have experienced my share of burning sexual desire, but this urgency was of another order. And that, Franklin, was the moment. Franklin.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't put in my diaphragm.
Is it dangerous?
Very. And you held me tight. When I got my period, I told you I was disappointed. That was my first lie. After that, you applied yourself nightly. But our lovemaking became yeoman-like. My body felt like it had been hijacked for a biological experiment. And while you listed names for boys, I privately listed my fears. Selfish, pygmy fears about physical discomforts and personal freedoms. As I recall, son might turn out killer wasn't on the list. Even so, when Dr. Rhinestein gave me the result of my pregnancy test, I almost fainted. December 2nd, 2000. Dear Franklin, today I visited Kevin, and he was in particularly combative humor.
You never wanted to have me.
Oh, hello, Kevin. Nice to see you.
Did you?
I thought I did.
You thought you did. You changed your mind.
Your father wanted you desperately.
Well, maybe I didn't want you. Cheapskate travel guides, crappy ads for crappy products. You didn't just make that shit, you bought it.
That shit kept a roof over your head.
Prefer this one.
Honestly, Kevin. Would you want you? If you woke up to find you in a crib by your bed? Had to deal with that for the next 16 years? That would be justice. Rather than lash out, Kevin goes slack. Shuts down. Is he disappointed? I'd said the worst and he felt nothing? Or have I actually hurt him? Either way, our conversation is over. 16 years. Remember the first sonogram, Franklin? Staring at that grainy shape, I remember thinking, who is that?
It's a boy,
announces Dr. Rhinestein, as if that answered my question.
Really? Are you sure?
Your delight was so transparent. My heart sank. True, I enjoy the company of men. But a boy is a dangerous animal. By nature, not nurture. And therein lay my defense against Mary Wolford. Mary's motivation for bringing the case was confused. The problem was not who should be punished. The problem was her daughter was dead. Oh, I was willing to accept responsibility, even parental negligence, but with limits. To admit, this is my fault, and that is my fault. But there, on the other side of the line, the side of nature, that is not. Harvey, my attorney, found the soul-searching tedious.
Settle, Eva. Don't fight it. Accept her reputation as a bad mother and have done.
I was a bad mother, Franklin.
Even if you win, it'll cost you.
But I wanted to make my point. Pay the exact price for exactly what I did.
burning down the house. Hey!
What the hell are you doing?
Having a good time?
You trying to have a miscarriage?
I'm trying to be me, for once, not some host body with an alien about to rip through my chest.
That's a hideous thing to say.
I feel hideous, Franklin, most of the time.
I know.
No, you don't.
You can listen to music, Eva. Just don't
Oh, really?
chuck yourself at the furniture.
You sure Talking Heads won't turn him into a psycho killer? Better look it up in that book.
Well, at least I'm taking an interest in our baby. You've been reading a history of Portugal.
Oh, so I'm not allowed to read now?
Eva, we're parents.
But I realized
We
that
have
meant
to
acting
grow
like some
up.
tight-ass killjoy.
Eva.
I'd never have done it.
No, don't you ever say that again. Never ever tell me that you regret our kid.
I started to cry. Since when was there anything that one of us was never, ever to say? Eva. December 6th, 2000. Dear Franklin, perhaps my last letter was a little unfair. Parenthood is mined with things couples can never ever discuss. Like childbirth. I don't know where I got the idea I was so tough, but it went without saying that I would shun anesthetics. So when the first contraction wrings my insides like a wet sheet, I let my eyes bulge slightly with surprise. I make jokes as you drive us to the hospital. When the second contraction left hooks me, I exhale a demure little hoof. But as the labor drags on, I start to think, I'm too old for this. Can't stretch to this new life. After about 15 hours, Dr. Rhinestein despairs.
Eva, you really must make an effort.
After 24 hours, I let a few tears leak down my temples. More than once, I'm offered an epidural. My refusals become increasingly demented. In the end, the threat of the cesarean does it. I make an effort and realize I'd been resisting the birth. It hurts a whole lot.
Eva, go with the pain. The pain is good.
Pain good? I'm overcome with contempt. In fact, the emotion I fasten onto to fight the pain is loathing. I despise being spread out like a farmyard exhibit. I hate you. I'm the one ramming a watermelon through a passage the size of a garden hose. And yes, I hate the baby. I use all that hate to push through into a blaze of agony. I scream and I don't care.
Epidural! Oh, please, epidural, please! No time for that! Make it stop! The baby is drowning!
And it's over. In the very instant of his birth, I associate Kevin with suffering and defeat. Dr. Rhinestein gently hands me the infant. The expression on his crushed little face is disgruntled. He lolls away from my breast in disgust. I'd been warned that I wouldn't lactate on demand like a cafeteria milk dispenser. But I keep trying. He keeps resisting. And all the while I wait, keep waiting to be transported. But I just feel absent. There is nothing inside.
He's beautiful,
I say, reaching for a line from TV. When they come to stitch up the tearing, you offer to take Kevin. My relief is soul-destroying. Kevin rests his arm around your neck as if finding his real protector. You choke up, filling with all the emotions I can't feel. I am left with shame and fear. Oh, please don't, Franklin. I know what you'd say. I'd had a 37-hour labor. I was exhausted. I just needed to rest, for God's sake. I know, because I said these things to myself. They didn't help. Prostrate, with my legs apart, I made a vow. I would never reveal to anyone, least of all you, Franklin, that childbirth had left me unmoved. Eva. December 11th, 2000. Dear Franklin, I'm rattled. What did I just say? And how the hell did Jack Marlin get my number anyway?
And already have clearance to interview Kevin. But I really want to speak to you too, Mrs. Cachadorian.
And why, Mr. Marlin, do you imagine I'd want to talk to you?
I promise my documentary won't be sensationalist. I'm not interested in what happened, but why. I thought you might like to tell your side of the story.
What side would that be? A different one to Kevin?
It's been implied that your son was the victim of sexual abuse.
A victim, right.
Do you think Kevin's been misunderstood?
He made his point very eloquently. Actions speak louder than words.
And what do you think Kevin was trying to say? Mrs. Cachadorian, we have to understand what makes boys like Kevin.
He wasn't made angry, Mr. Marlin. He was born angry. It took him 16 years to find a way to express it, but I saw it from day one, and there was nothing I could do. I'm sorry, Franklin. I shouldn't have said what I did. Not to him. There's only one person I want to talk to about this, Franklin, and that's you. But you aren't here, Eva.